I'm here, mija.
Mama?
It's okay.
We can't leave.
Yes, we got it. It's okay. We're right here. Okay? It's okay. We're right here, okay? Hey, we're right here, okay? Hey, it's okay.
Well, emotional moments here at Robb Elementary in Uvalde yesterday as parents wait to be reunited with their students after a shooter opens fire in the elementary school there in that town. 19 children, 2 teachers, all killed. The deadliest school shooting in Texas history. Let's get right to Ron. He's in the newsroom with the latest this morning with some details. Hey, Ron.
All right, you guys, we do want to get you the latest information, and we are going to go to the video right now of the latest information coming in from Texas this morning as we continue to deal with just the shocking news that another massacre has happened in another elementary school. You hear so many of the parents who are responding to the news of what they are now dealing with in Texas. And here we are, more than roughly a decade from the days of the Sandy Hook massacre. 19 children dead, 2 adults killed as well, as we continue to learn more information about this. As the story comes in this morning out of Uvalde, a school, the Robb Elementary School in this community, about 90 miles outside of San Antonio, Texas. It's emotional. It's hard for all of us to have to report on this. Many of the dead are believed to be just between 7 and 9 years old. The shooter barricaded himself in the classroom, an official saying that he, quote, shot anyone who was in the way. It happened just one day before students were set to leave and go on summer break. And in the wake of the shooting, there are renewed calls for something to be done to protect children in schools across the country. President Biden did address the nation last night. He was visibly upset and angry.
To lose a child is like having a piece of your soul ripped away. There's a hollowness in your chest. You feel like you're being sucked into it and never going to be able to get out. Suffocating. I'd hoped when I became president I would not have to do this again.
But here we are again. At home, Governor Ducey ordered flags to be lowered to half staff. And interesting, last night, one of the more outspoken members of the sports world is Steve Kerr, well known here in the Valley, at one time the general manager of the Phoenix Suns, now the coach of the Golden State Warriors, you guys. And some of what he had to say is creating headlines as well.
Well, let's go ahead and listen to that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go ahead and roll that tape. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
And in the last 10 days, we've had elderly black people killed in a supermarket in Buffalo. We've had Asian churchgoers killed in Southern California. And now we have children murdered at school. When are we going to do something? I'm tired. I'm so tired of getting up here and offering condolences to the devastated families that are out there. I'm so tired of the, I'm tired of the moments of silence. Enough. There's 50 senators right now who refuse to
I think
vote
there's
on
more, isn't there?
HR 8,
He's talking about this?
which is the
Okay,
background
so
check
this is...
rule that the House passed a couple of years ago. It's been sitting there for 2 years. And there's a reason they won't vote on it, to hold on to power.
All right, so he's
So
talking
I ask
about
you
a piece of legislation, and this is Steve Kerr. He's the coach of the Golden State Warriors, and I think he echoes a lot of sentiment, which comes down to what can we do? But the question is, what can be done?
Right.
We have the same, I think, discussion every time we have a school shooting. There's the thoughts and prayers, there's the gun control, there's the mental health argument, all of it, and they just keep happening.
They
right?
do, yeah.
So he's been an outspoken supporter of gun reform, and one of the bills he was talking about would expand background checks.
So, but how much reform really are Americans willing to back? This is one of the most contentious issues that we have around the nation. Renee, you've been looking into this, and you have some information this morning on some new numbers in from a study.
Yeah, and you know, with situations like this, of course, we're focusing a lot on those victims, but this is the topic that comes up, of course. And gun reform, it's been a long and contentious debate in Washington. Lawmakers have been unable really to come together and reach an agreement on how to tackle the problem of gun violence. But the polls do show that Americans are moving in a direction where they really want some action. So this is happening in April. An Economist YouGov survey showed that 45% of people said gun laws should in fact be stricter. Only 14% in this survey said that they should be less strict. 52% supporting a ban on assault weapons, while 36% oppose it. But there are some changes also that have wide support. That same poll also showing 72% favored expanding background checks, including checks for private and gun show sales. The overwhelming majority of Americans saying that people with a history of mental illness should not own a gun. There's also strong support for a gun registry. Yesterday's shooting, now the second deadliest shooting in U.S. history. 26 people, of course, killed at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. And yesterday, that state senator called on action from the Senate floor.
Just days after a shooter walked into a grocery store to gun down African-American patrons, we have another Sandy Hook on our hands. What are we doing? Our kids are living in fear every single time they set foot in the classroom because they think they're going to be next. What are we doing?
And of course, we have to keep in mind this is an election year, which makes gun reform a tougher sale for many lawmakers, whether you believe it should be or not. And we know you have an opinion here, and we want to give you a way to voice that opinion. So we are asking you this morning, what changes to gun laws do you support? And here's your options in our poll this morning. You either don't support any changes to gun laws, which 57% of people that are answering our poll this morning say none. 1% say expanding background checks. 2% say bring back the ban on assault weapons. 12% say background checks and ban assault weapons. And 28% saying put more money into mental health. Guys?